Hi all, welcome back to Guide to Solidworks, and in today's tutorial we're going to be looking at a surface modelling tutorial, and this one is going to be the spoon specifically. Now if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and if you're a returning viewer, please hit that thumbs up if you're enjoying the content. Also you can ring that bell icon to get notifications on any upcoming videos that we're going to put on. So let's get into this surface modelling tutorial and let's have a look how we're going to go around doing this. Now surface techniques are quite unique in the terms of we are working in a three-dimensional space, but we are working with almost a skin of material. So the way that I like to think about surface models is that with my sketch tools I am going to lay out some sort of skeleton or frame that I am then going to lay the surface over, or terms of the body, I'm going to lay the skin over the top. Okay, so I'm going to use a range of techniques using the sketch tools to create some sort of frame which will allow me to then create this spoon shape. So I'm going to start off in terms of my sketches creating this top view here where I'll create just that profile of that spoon there. I'm then going to create a sketch in line with that, giving me a line version of these contours of the spoon, and then across these at set points where these sections intersect I'm going to put these arcs for the effectively the radius of the spoon shape here. Okay. What we'll do then is we'll use the boundary surface tool to create a surface that will give me the shape of the spoon in terms of its contours, and then I'm going to trim away the outer profile using the top sketch to get the actual shape of that spoon. So we'll have a look how we do that, and we should end up by the end of the tutorial with something that looks a bit like this one here. Okay, so we're going to go through that step by step, and you can follow along and you can have a go if you like, and hopefully by the end of it we'll produce a nice spoon shape out of a surface profile. Right, okay, so let's dive in. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the top plane here. So I'm going to take that top plane and sketch on that. Okay, now I'm going to start off with a centre line. I'm going to start off from the origin here. And I'm just going to bring that across. Now that centre line is going to be the full length of that profile of the spoon, so I'm going to set that up at 143.5. Now once we've got that length, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so we can see what we are doing. We are now going to add the shape of the spoon. Now I'm just going to add half of the profile so that I can mirror image this across that centre line. So let's dive into this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to set a arc. So this arc is going to come around here. Oh, let's get the arc tool first. So this arc is going to come around here, and it's going to look something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to get this set up first. So I'm going to get the center point of the arc coincident with the center line, and then I'm going to set size to that. So I'm going to set that as 6, like so. Now from the end of there, I'm going to go to the line tool, click on the end of here. Now this is just giving me a straight line. If I come back to the end point here and move away, I've now got an arc. So I'm going to create an arc that comes in and intersects into here somewhere. About there is perfect. I'm just doing this roughly at the moment, and I'm going to put a diameter to that. Now the radius of that is going to be 500. Like so. Don't worry about the size at the moment, I will stretch that out in a second. The next point here is going to be another centre line, and this is going to intersect with the centre line going across. So I'm going to find the centre of this, I'm going to click the line here, and I'm going to make that relationship midpoint. Oh, sorry, let's do that. Yep. Oh, let's undo that, sorry. Let's make it coincident, sorry, instead of midpoint. There we go, now it's going to set on that line. Now the distance from the end to here is going to be 50, so let's make that 50 there, like so. Now I've not got a set size to this, so I'm just going to extend that out a little bit, like so. Okay, now we've got this in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this here up to this point, so that it is in line with that centre line we've just created. Now, what we want from the end of there is going to be an arc from that end point. If I can get this to work okay or not. We'll have to mess with that. Let's try it. We're using the arc tool instead. There we go. So drop an arc in here, and I'm going to make the centre point of the arc in relationship with that coincident relationship with this centre line we've just created there. Now I'm going to put a distance to this from there to our centre position there. Now we're working all the way across in terms of its mirror image position. It's going to be 18. So what I mean by that is if we hit the centre line and take the dimension to the opposite side of it, it will dimension up the mirror position of that line, or that point. Now I'm going to take the radius of that, and I want that to be 6. Like so. Okay, now from the end of there, come back to this line tool, to the end here, and I'm going to now create this shape or contour that comes around here. I'll come back to this in a second. I'm just going to stretch this out a little bit. So I'm going to move this along, and this is just about manipulating the shape until we get things in position for where we want them. And if we can set a size to that, so let's turn that to 20, like so, and then I can manipulate this so that it should come the other side of this line. I'm going to play. There we go. Okay, so once we've got that in place, I'm just going to dimension this point up here, and from there to there, and across there is going to be 7. Now we've still got one final part for this, and that is this end part here, and also we want to make sure that we have our radius for this point's position as well. So I'm just going to manipulate that around. Now you will notice with this there is a lot of manipulation and a bit of messing with these arcs to make sure that we've got them in the right place. My radius on that section there is going to be 40. It's looking like we've picked up the wrong arc there. Okay, so I'm just going to manipulate this again, dragging this down, and there we go, that's looking a lot better. So I want this position here from the 20 to there, to have a dimension of 7mm across. So we've got the 20mm here, radius, with a 7mm gap across the centre of there. So the mirror image position on the opposite side would be 7. Now we've got this at 40, and our ending arc here. So I'm going to come out back to this here, pull around to there. Is going to be 10, but I do want this point to be coincident with our centre line as well, like so. Now we're just going to put in that final diameter, which is going to be 10 here, and this should fully define this sketch, like so. Okay, so now you can see it's a fully defined sketch. Now you will have seen, because we're using so many arcs, that is a little bit fiddly, so I do apologise that it's taken a little bit longer than expected. If you start to have a few problems with it, just drag it around until you start to see the sort of shape that you want, and then dimension it up after. Or like I did, dimension up as you go along, but then you might need to move a few things around and make sure you dimension up the exact right points rather than the wrong ones. But that's looking good. Now once we've got that half done, I'm going to mirror that. So take the mirror tool, I'm going to drag and select all of the points along that side. I don't need that line through again. And I'm going to go mirror about, and I'm going to take this position here and tick. Now you'll see it's lost some of its definition in terms of dimensions. So we've lost this one from here to here, so let's add that back in. And we've also lost the full distance on this as well. So let's add that back in. Okay, now we've done that, let's see what else we are missing. Now, if I take this position, I think we'll find, yep, that at the moment, that has underdefined, and I'm going to take this outer point there and link it back to there and make that coincident as well. Okay, I'm just going to do the same on the other side, so I'm going to take this top point here and make this coincident with that outer edge there as well. Then we should end up with our fully defined sketch, like so. Okay, so once I've got that sketch defined, I am now going to come out of it, and I'm going to leave that to use that for later. Okay, I'm going to turn where I'm looking at now. Let's spin that around. I don't like that view. Okay, so that's where we started. So I'm now going to go on the front plane. I'm going to sketch on that front plane. Okay, and playing games with this one today. So let's turn that all the way over that's where we should be. There we go. Okay, so now we've got that profile in. I'm going to sketch on this front face, and I am going to do something very similar again, but this time I'm going to create the contour of the spoon itself. So that's just the outer shape, or the profile. Now I'm going to create that contour. I'm going to make sure that I start on line with my sketch here. Okay, and I'm going to get an arc and bring it along here, like so. Now at the moment I have no defined size to this, I'm just going to create an arc along there. Okay, I am going to create an offset distance from the start position at the top. Let's call that 20. And I am also going to make sure that that is in line with that position as well, vertically. There. Once I've got that in place, I am going to put a radius on this of 500. Like so. Okay, now what I also want to do is to create some guide positions. I'm going to go to center line here, and I am going to put in 2 center lines there. Now these 2 center lines are going to be helping me select specific positions on my drawing. Now first of all, what I do want to make sure is that I know where these positions start. So this bottom one here is going to be offset from there by 35 mil down, and it's going to be 76 across. This section here is going to be 40 mil up, and is going to be from there to there 119 across, like so. Okay. Once I've got them in place, I can now continue to create my model. What I am interested in is creating this from there to there, having a vertical relationship so they have a set height there. Okay. Now the next part of this is creating an arc around, so I'm going to come to my line tool, click on the end of here, go back to the origin and drag an arc around here. There we go. Something like that. Okay, then another one from there around to the base there, and then finally the last one from there going up around here, like so. And I want this to finish on line with the end point of there, so vertically in line with that. And we've got that rough profile there, so we're going to add some sizes to that now. So I want them 2 positions to be horizontal to each other, and I'm going to set that from there to there, a distance of 74. And a radius of 18. Okay. Now I do know that this position here is going to be a radius of 40. And I'm going to connect that up to this top point there. I'm going to merge them two positions. Is that going to allow me to move that position? There we go. So I've just fixed that that center position of the arc to the top point of that vertices with a vertical relationship, and you can see now how it's fully defined the rest of the sketch. Okay, so now we've got that in place, I'm going to come out of that sketch. Now what we've got here is effectively two of our dimensions. We've got the first one, which is going to give us the outer profile. We've got the second one, which is going to give us the side-on contour of the spoon. And we'll now need to create a third one, which is going to give us the arc or the radius of that spoon itself. Now I'm going to do that at set points along, so I'm going to take 3 set points, which are effectively cross sections. So I'm going to add in 3 different planes. So I'm going to go to the right plane, turn it side on slightly. I'm going to hold control, I'm going to grab one of the nodes or one of the endpoints of the plane and drag out. And you'll see that it creates a plane itself in a moment. There we go. So we've created a new plane. Now that first plane is going to be I'm going to call it, I'll rename it in a second, but it's going to be 6 mil out. Tick that. And it's called plane 1. So I'm going to call it CC, plane cross section CC. Like so, and you'll see that change in the top corner there of the plane. Now I'm going to go back to that right plane, and again, create another one. Control, hold Alt, drag it out again, and this one, this time, is going to be 76 out. Like so, and this one is going to be named B. So this is cross section BB. Go cross section B, and then the final one from the right plane here, dragging that out again, is going to be cross section A, and this one is going to be 111 mil out. Like so. And I'll just label that up. A. So I've got my 3 cross sections there labelled up, so I know which ones I'm working on. Okay. Now if you took a copy of the drawing at the beginning, print screen, or if you want to keep flying back to it, that's fine. You'll notice that the 3 cross sections are labelled up C, B and A, so therefore this links to them. So let's start off with cross section C first. We'll sketch on there. I'm just going to turn this view side on so we can see what we're doing. And then I am going to create a arc. So my arc is going to be randomly on here, like so. I am going to make sure that these endpoints stay horizontal, and then I'm going to add in a radius to this, which is going to be 40. Okay, so I don't need it to be this big, so I'm just going to shrink that down a little bit. And what I'm then going to do is I'm going to find the center point of that arc, turn this side on slightly, and then I'm going to find and pierce, I'm going to pierce the center point of that arc to that line, like so. Okay, I can just reduce the distance that that line comes out. Okay, so once I've got that one in place, all I need to make sure is that each of these arcs are wider than my top profile sketch. So if I just view it from the top view, So each of these profile arcs you can see there are wider than the sketch itself that I've created. Okay, so let's move on to the second profile, which is on plane B, on plane B. Let's sketch on that. And this one again is another arc. Let's go along there. I'm just going to create a small little arc there. Get the two endpoints horizontal again. And this time, this radius is going to be 10. And follow the same process. Find the center point of that arc. And then we are looking for where it intersects with this drawing, which is going to go through that position there. Like so. And then our next point is going to be our section A. Now we're just going to check that from above. Make sure that that line goes wider. It does not, so we're just going to edit that sketch. And just drag it so it's a bit wider than the profile that we're dealing with. Like so. Final point is on the A section, so we're going to sketch on there. Get an end on view again. You're always better working on the end on view so you know exactly where everything is. Drag that across. Get that contour again. I'm just going to make these ends again horizontal. And then I am going to set that distance, which in this case is going to be 30. And it'll give me that arc, that shape that I'm after for the size and the position where I want it to go. So now that is going to go connected to, or pierce to, that position that goes through my plane. So pierce tool there, and that's going through my plane. And now what you can see is, as I was saying early on in the tutorial, that the job of this is to create a frame or a skeleton that my surface is going to fit onto. So this bottom half here is my skeleton, my frame. Okay, so now I've got that frame, what I want to do is add a surface onto that. So I'm going to come to my surface tab. If it's not in your tabs at the top, you'll need to right click and add it in. So my surface tab, and I'm going to go to boundary surface here. Now what I want to do is add my directions that this surface is going to go. So I'm going to use these here as my directions across. And then once I've got my directions across, I'm going to use my direction number 2 as this line that goes all the way along my profile here, this contour line here. So each of my cross sections are my direction 1, and my profile, my contour, the length contour here, is my direction 2. What that will do is give me a preview of what the surface is going to look like, and it's just giving me a surface that goes along like that spoon without any outer detailed shape. So as you can see now, if I tick that, because I'm happy with that shape, I will get something that looks like a spoon shape, but it looks a bit more like a spade because of the cut off on there. Now I've got that shape though. If I now view it from above, you will see how the spoon fits into that. Now I might need to extend bits here, as you can see, because the spoon here is coming outside of, is still inside that shape. So what I might need to do is extend some of the lines that I've been drawing there, which we can do no problem. All we do is come back into here, and we go into the sketch, edit the sketch. I just need to drag that out a little bit more. You should see the profile change. Now again, if we go back to the top view and now we can see that it is just outside, so we're perfect with that. So that's just a little bit of an editing process until we know we've definitely got the shape that we are after. Okay, so now we've got that shape, we're going to use this sketch and we're going to trim the surface using it. So we're going to go to the Trim Surface tool in the Surface tab. Now what I want to remove, so the bit that I'm going to trim with is my sketch, and I'm going to remove this outer profiles here. Okay, so you can see there I've selected the sketch as what I'm going to trim, and then these purple sections are the bits that are going to be removed. And if I just turn that slightly, you can see now the profile of the spoon in there. If I tick there, we now have our spoon profile in the surface below. Now I'm just going to quickly hide these planes so they're not there anymore, and they're not in the way. Now we've got that spoon profile, like so. What I can now do is thicken it. So I go to the thicken tool there, and I'm going to thicken this by 1 mil, and tick like so. Select the surface to be thickened, and tick like so. So we've now got that spoon profile with that 1 mil thickening surface there. So we've got that thickening process there, so it's now actually a thick or a solid object. Now what that means I can do is just fillet these edges, so I'm just going to add a fillet on to this outer profile, 0.2, and that is just going to thicken up. There we go. So I'm just going to add that into them edges, tick there, and it's just going to round off them edges slightly so that we get that rounded profile on the outside edge of that spoon around the outside. Now, that there is your completed spoon tutorial in terms of developing a surface model of a spoon. At this point you could then add a material to it, you could render it, and it'll look pretty good like the thumbnail of the video. Okay, so if you like that, please give me a thumbs up for the content. If you are enjoying the content and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and join the channel. That'll help us build the channel and develop more content as we go. Like I say, thanks for watching this tutorial, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.